What's up guys, it's Scoopman5000. Today we're back for another action figure review. We're getting right into AEW Series 3, brand new, and we're starting that out with Darby Allin and PAC. And I started with these two. They're probably the most excited I am out of this wave, and we're going to be looking at the rest of the wave as the week goes on. But like I said, for right now, we're looking at Darby Allin, we're looking at the Bastard, and with the packaging, it's what we've been getting with the other series of AEW. Everything's going to be uniform, so if you keep these men on card, they're going to be all nice when they display together. But for my purposes, these are getting opened up. And these things are a little hard to open up. They got some kind of engineering to them. They're blistered on the back. So not really collector friendly if you're taking them out and planning on putting them back in. But they do have a nice window, renders, artwork, names, everything you'd expect. On the side, you get AEW, and then you get the figures in the series. PAC is 19, and Darby Allin is 22. On the other side, another AEW logo. And then on the back here, you do get an in-ring shot. You actually get the event that these come from. So Darby Allin is from Fyter Fest, and PAC is from All Out. And then you get the other characters in the wave. But with packaging taken care of, we're going to go ahead, we're going to rip these guys open, and we're going to start out with PAC. And here's the Bastard PAC out of the packaging. And for his accessories, he actually comes with a folding chair. I didn't even notice this in the packaging. Little throw-in bonus, I guess. And it's a nice little chair. He does hold it, not really perfectly. The hands aren't really made to grip him, but you can kind of slide it in there. And it's a throwaway accessory anyway. I don't think of PAC, I don't think of steel chairs, so it's just kind of a cool thing, a cool little play feature. And then his only other accessory is the alternate head. I guess this would be like an entrance look. He's got the hair covering his face. And these are always cool, but I don't always think they're usable. We get the same thing with like Drew McIntyre figures in the Elite line. And I just think you gotta go with the base figure. And looking at that, we can get a closer look at his head sculpt here. Now, whenever they show these pictures off for like Walmart.com, they always look worse in the pictures, especially with Riho, who we're going to get to tomorrow. And same thing in PAC's case. I feel like his scan wasn't that great on the website, but it actually is pretty good here, especially you hit it at the profile, looks good. And he does have like a weird kind of sniveling expression here, so that doesn't really help the likeness. And I think Mattel has done it better, but this isn't that bad. And I think that it's kind of hard to compare these to Mattel. These seem to have a bit more issues, and definitely not there in terms of the face scanning and the printing technology when compared to Mattel. And another big difference you'll notice too is the plastic quality. I noticed like a real chemically plasticky smell with this guy. Maybe that's something your mileage may vary, and I don't think that's too much of a concern. Maybe just crack a window when you're opening up your AEW Series 3. But a big thing you'll notice here is the discoloration, or the different colors of different body parts. So the middle chest here, you see, is much lighter than the lower chest and the arms. It seems like it's getting better though. I know in Series 1, I have a Kenny Omega that has basically every different piece is a different color plastic, but here it's still kind of noticeable and not something that you ever really get with a Mattel. So that's just worthy of note. Otherwise, this is a pretty spot on Neville PAC figure. You can see he's got the armbands that are strapped in there, just kind of painted above the bicep joint there, and it hides it pretty well actually that he has those. And then same thing, he's got black wrist tape. He's just kind of got a different shades of gray on the sides of the trunks, and then down here, signature PAC. We got the leg wraps. We got the black knee pads with the little design, and then the black kick pads. So in terms of the design of the figure, one of the more basic of the AEW series so far, but that's not really to the fault of Jazwares. It's really just more what he wears. And I'm certainly glad to have a PAC in my roster of AEW because he is one of my favorites. He is very good at what he does, so I'm glad to have him in plastic form. Go over his articulation. You see the head is on the ball joint here. It's got a pretty good range of motion. There also is a hinge there, so it's going back and forward that much. I love the double ball system that they got going on the torso. So with that, you can see that's going all the way up. So that's how far the torso goes back. And forward is pretty impressive as well. You also get tons of tilt motion with that. The shoulders swivel and they hinge. You got the upper bicep cut. Great double jointed elbows on these AEW figures. And then you get the swivel and the hinge at the wrist. The upper legs are on ball joints. They kick back not so much. Far, not that much either. You do get an upper leg cut. Double jointed knee, a bit blocked by the knee pad here. No cut at the boot, but you do get a hinge and a really good ankle rocker on the boots. And with PAC taken care of, let's go ahead and do my favorite part, and let's do some comparison. And we'll start out with Series 1 of AEW Unrivaled. We got Cody Rhodes and a little bit of the bubbly Chris Jericho. And the big takeaway here is how much the skin tone has improved. It didn't even seem that bad in Series 1, but then once we got Series 2, you really see the difference. And especially with these two, with all these guys side by side, you can definitely see how glowy and pale and weird that Series 1 ends up looking. And then to get a good sense of scale, you can see him with the tallest figure we've got so far, which is Dustin Rhodes, who is way too tall, but is still taller than PAC, so it kind of works. And then with MJF, who's one of the shorter figures we've gotten so far, he's a bit taller than PAC here, and I don't know if that's accurate off the top of my mind, but at least they're close in height. Hopefully they get better with the scaling, and maybe we can get a redone Dustin, because Dustin's definitely the outlier, and along with Moxley and even Hangman, where they were just way too tall. And then here we have him with Penta and Phoenix. This is the Death Triangle, the recent trio on Dynamite, and it's pretty cool that basically unintentionally we got to complete like a group, a trio on Dynamite with these three. This is more recent. I'm sure that the figures were planned before that group formed, but we do get to see it come to life in plastic here. And I love the Phoenix and Penta figures. They look great with PAC. I think the scale's good, so that works very well. And then for a WWE Elite comparison, here he is with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, the usual figures we compare with. This makes it seem like PAC maybe is a bit too tall, because I don't know if he's shoulder to shoulder with Rollins like he is here. I think he's just a little bit shorter, so maybe the scale is a bit off, but it's not that bad. And then finally, I had to include Mr. Brody Lee, Luke Harper, as a little bit of a tribute. And then also the Neville figure. The last one I think we got from the WWE Elites, I think this one came with the Cruiserweight belt. And it's kind of a toss-up here. I think there's positives and negatives to each of them. I think that in some cases, I like some of the body parts on the Elite better than the AEW figure. But the AEW figure, I think, has a better body shape overall. When you go to the face, I think Mattel definitely takes the cake. So there's definitely like trade-offs. I'm glad to own them both and kind of be able to interchange them. And I really do like having a comparison like this, where it's a recent Elite figure and then a recent AEW figure of the same guy. And I hope we get more guys repeat like that, so that way we can compare the Mattel and the AEW, because I always think that's fun. But with PAC all but taken care of, let's get on to the main event, one of the most hot anticipated figures, and that is Darby Allin. And here's Darby Allin out of the packaging, super exciting. For his accessories, he's got the ring jacket, and I mentioned that chemically plastic smell. This one's even worse. I think it's because of the jacket. It's a very soft material, very easy to get off of the torso, and it's actually got the little plastic guards around the arms when you take it off for the first time, so that way it doesn't like rub off on the plastic, I guess. But really cool ring jacket. I love that you can take it off pretty easily, not like the Sasha Banks figure that I just broke, but really cool designs on this one. And then he's got the skateboard, and I did not expect this thing to have actual working wheels on it where you can roll it around like a tech deck or something, and he does stand on it. I'll show that here, but he doesn't really hold it that well. I mean, you could definitely make it work. You can make it stand and you can kind of angle it. It'll hold. But same thing like with the steel chair with PAC. He just doesn't have a really good grip on it. So if you want him to kind of hold it maybe as a weapon, that might be a little difficult to pull off. But getting into the figure here, a great likeness, I think, to Darby Allin. Of course, it's helped by the fact that half of him is covered in that skull paint. And I should mention that this figure has a chase variation where the whole half of the body is in the skull paint, which is pretty cool. But I'm fine with this one. And I don't think I'll ever be getting those chases unless I miraculously find one in a Walmart or something, or if Ringside decides to send one in my shipments. But for now, here's the regular version, so you're getting that usual Darby Allin skull paint there, and that's the likeness on the other side. I think it is pretty good, like I said. The paint apps are really nice here. You got even a little bit of that black paint into the hair a bit. On the back, you got his tattoo, Relentless, and then he's got his chain necklace going around. You see more paint down into the neck, which leads into the decal over here on the chest that reads, "Nothing's over till you're underground." And it's a really slim body here. I don't know if this one's been used yet in AEW. I don't think so. I think this is the first time we're seeing it, but I'm sure it'll get reused with guys like maybe a Jungle Boy or something like that. Really cool detail too on the hands here. He's just got the white wrist tape, but if you notice, he's got the face paint, a little grayish white face paint, actually like smeared onto the fingers. And it's on both of them, so it's definitely intentional. Really cool design there. I mean, honestly, if these figures, they can fix the plastic quality and they can maybe get their likenesses a bit better, these definitely will be some of the best wrestling figures ever made, because you get really cool little details like that. And then he's got his classic ripped up, washed shorts that are over the black tights into the boots here. Very unorthodox, non-traditional wrestling gear. That's kind of part of Darby Allin's thing, and that's why he's very popular, one of the stars of AEW, so definitely good to have a figure this early in the AEW line. To go over his articulation, the head's on the same thing. You got a hinge that goes far back and forward, and you do get some rotation on the ball joint. The double torso is going back that much, mostly due to the bottom joint, and forward is pretty good. That one's mostly handled by the front. The arms are going to hinge and they're going to swivel. You got the upper bicep cut, the double jointed elbow, and the swivel and the hinge at the wrist. The legs have the ball joints, and they finally fixed these pegs here. If you know with Series 1 and 2, you have these flesh tone pegs. I'm really glad to see that. I didn't know that this was the case. Awesome that they fixed that. The upper thigh cut actually sits right above the shorts. I'm pretty surprised by that. I thought it would be right at the line of the shorts, but it actually is pretty well hidden otherwise. But for what it is still pretty well hidden by the design. Double jointed knee goes all the way because you got no knee pads. There is a cut at his boot, and then he gets the ankle rocker and the hinge as well. And that does about cover Darby Allin, so now let's go ahead and do some comparison. And for some AEW figures I haven't put on the screen yet, we got the Jon Moxley from Series 2, who's comically oversized, looks really actually kind of dumb next to these two. And then we got the Series 1 Kenny Omega. You can see like the gross different colors of the skin here. This is like a pink bicep into that, which is different from the torso. So definitely some growing pains with this line, but Series 3 seems to be pretty consistent across the board at least, though I think I prefer Series 2's lineup still. And then here he is with Penta and Phoenix. And then the Series 1 Cody and Jericho again. And then here he is with MJF and PAC. Finally with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins from the Elite line. And then here he is with Mr. Brody Lee and with Sting, who's playing a big part in Darby Allin's story right now. It's either going to lead to some kind of alliance, tag team match, and maybe eventually a match between the two. And overall, that is going to do it for your look at AEW Series 3, PAC and Darby Allin. Two excellent figures. I'm glad to add these both to the ranks of the AEW Unrivaled series. And it's a pretty strong start to a pretty strong looking wave. We're going to be looking at Riho and Orange Cassidy, the awaited, anticipated figure, one of the top selling figures, Orange Cassidy, and then the updated Young Bucks as well. So you're going to want to stay tuned throughout the week to check out those reviews. I've done tons of WWE Elite reviews, as well as a few AEWs in there too. I did a little bit of the Bubbly, Cody Rhodes, and then also the Blood Brothers. And now I'm finally catching up to the main line, where I'm able to review Series 3 all at once in a timely manner. So if you're a fan of this, definitely stick around, because we're going to be looking at the rest of the series. And like I said, you can go back through the archives, check out my other reviews. And it's not just wrestling. I know it's been a lot of wrestling recently, but there is plenty of DC. Marvel, Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. As always, I'm going to leave it off with some figure photography, and you can see more of my figure photography on Instagram, scoopman_5000. But for right now, that's going to do it. So thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next action figure review.